I have bought a watch. It's just arrived, and I thought it would be amusing to open it up with you. It's an Amiga service case. I doubt it was Amiga serviced. So here we have it. A Speedmaster on a flat link bracelet. So if I was looking at this completely cold, and of course I do know what it is, but if I didn't, I would look at the bracelet and see that it was a 60s bracelet. And in fact, if we look in closely here, we can see it says first quarter of 69. It's a 1039. And we can see that the dial has an applied logo and long indices. So we know it's going to be a late 60s watch. Most likely a 145012 because it has the standard size pushers, or possibly a transitional which has the same dial as the 145012. And the next thing to do is just to have a little look around it and see what we've got. Well, I always start with the dial, and here we've got a black dial. The body color of the dial is very good with the long indices, but we do have a bit of a problem with the print. The print has peeled and decayed as though it has become wet and lifted off, which is not great. The dial does have under there, it's got T Swiss made, and we'll get it out in a minute and just have a proper look at that dial. In these watches it's important to check the bezel, and we've got a very good, I wouldn't say very good, we've got a good bezel, although it's arguably slightly better than good, perhaps not, but it's a decent enough bezel. And if we look at the case, we look down here and we see it's sort of shiny, which I would like to have seen more brushing. Same on this side, and it has some evidence of some polishing, which is a shame. I'd kind of hoped it wasn't polished. So let's separate the bracelet because it's much easier to handle. Now I am away from my usual watch cave, so I'm without my little finger protections, but I'm not too concerned with this watch because one of the first things that's going to happen to it, I think, is going to get serviced. Sometimes that happens. You push down on the separator and it just doesn't go through the hole. Now be careful because these things can fly. So there it is. Now I can see there is some good news. Now, people might think I'm kind of petty, but this is really good news. This is a correct bracelet spring bar. It has no grooves on the end bars, and it is fat, so it fits nicely in there. A lot of times people put an ordinary 14-15mm spring bar with grooves around the edge, and it's too thin, and anyway, it's nice to see that. So now we've got it off, and we can double check, and indeed we can see very clearly here it's a 1039 bracelet and first quarter of 69. Quite late for a 145012, but not unheard of. Now, I haven't run it yet because what I'd like to do is see inside. This dial decay is quite serious, and the way we do that is with one of my openers, and this is actually a prototype in aluminium, and Paul said he didn't like making them in aluminium, so back to brass. I prefer the brass ones as well, but this is all I've got with me. So let's see what we've got, see if we can open it. Gentle pressure. The way it slipped, it sort of snapped there, not snapped, but it didn't gently allow itself to be unwound. It was a sort of a break in pressure, And that to me signifies that this gasket may be quite hard, and yes, indeed it is. So, first thing, what do we have here? What we have here is a 14501267. And it's got plenty of service marks. Look at that. Including one that says 1021. I have no idea what that means. Perhaps that means it was serviced in last October. Maybe. Let's see. So here we've got the back of the watch and the dust cover. I always, I don't know if you can learn a lot from a dust cover, but this one is a bit dirty, perhaps. Oh, there's one or two fingerprints on it. Anyway, it's just a dust cover. I say just. I mean, if you haven't got the dust cover, it's very hard to find one to replace it. Okay. Oh my goodness, look at that. What a superb condition movement. Now, I'm going to see if that helps bring a little light into it. Obviously, I'm going to take a proper picture of this and blow it up, but this is really great. Now, what I'm looking for in a movement, I have to be careful not to touch anything. This is a plastic-ended hand applying tool, so I know I'm not, if I accidentally touch the movement, I'm not going to damage it. The horseshoe bridge and I believe that's called the balance cock. I don't know the names of all the plates, but what I do know is that the colors are matching. That's a great sign. Next thing I look at is, what about this here, this silver metal part? I don't know, I call that the ghost. But it's clean. And the column wheel here, beautiful condition, no broken columns, and always a good sign to see the adjustment lever is not too out of whack. Now, oh, and while we're here, we can see we've got 516 end links on this 1039 bracelet. 1039 bracelet's a bit shoddy, a little bit shoddy. So what we're going to do now is decase it. Now, decasing a movement is always going to require care. Now, to remove a movement, and I don't know whether this is going to come out, I haven't taken it out yet, we have to relieve the pressure on the stem. And we do that by, oh my goodness, that's tight. Unscrewing it a turn. Then I put some pressure down and see if the stem will release, and it does. When you do this, when you unscrew it, you're only unscrewing to allow yourself the space to push down. This unscrewing does not release the stem. It's the pushing down of the screw that releases the stem. Right. Now, if this doesn't fall out, then I think it can go straight on the leather, actually. Well, as you can see, it allowed itself to come out, and now I am going to rotate my handy bit of leather because I don't really want to touch it. Now, funnily enough, it looks much nicer out. I don't have my strong glasses on, but I see a very slightly tinge of colour in that dial. But I also see very clearly from here all that junk It's where the minute track has peeled. So what I'm going to do now is take a quick break and take some proper high-res photos. We're going to see if we can gently replace this. Looking good. Again, cheating slightly with my hand applying tool to gently bring it in. The plastic end means that I'm not going to do any damage to it. Let's hope. But as I said, this is going straight off. This is going straight off to service. So hopefully any damage I do will be rectified. Damage. I shouldn't be damaging anything. The crown doesn't look original. Now, remember what I said? The screw here is a button with which to relieve the pressure on the stem. Make sure it's lined up. It is. So I'm pushing the button in, and then I shall be rotating this up. And it's always worth checking. It locks in and out, which it does. Now I shall be replacing the dust cover. So even though I know it's going to get serviced, I'm not touching it because I don't know when it's going to get serviced. And what the problem with touching these things is that the oils leave your fingers and go onto it. So there we go. And I can't get a nice seal because that gasket is apparently quite old. And so there we have my latest acquisition, which was not expensive. I knew it had the damaged dial, and I knew it had the non-original crown. I must confess that I'd hoped for a slightly better bracelet, but I think we can probably respring that link. And in general, I'm quite pleased because the bezel is very good. The case, I've seen better, but it's not bad. And as I said, it wasn't an expensive example. It's something that I can wear and enjoy on a daily basis and see whether I want to keep it or not. Quite often I buy these things for fun, see if I like them, see if I want to keep them in the box, and in order for them to stay, they have to push out another one. So let's see if this can push out one of the ones that I've already got.